Hey everybody, Darth Boy here. I'm shooting this before I gotta drive to class. So I found out recently, watching a Nathan P. Butler video, that Disney has re-released every Star Wars movie on Blu-ray and DVD. Not 4K for some reason, though. I believe that's because there is no 4K master available for home video distribution. So I believe that's why there is no 4K release. There is a re-release for the main saga films, so you've got prequel trilogy, original trilogy, and the first two sequel films. Recording this prior to Rise of Skywalker coming out in theaters and on home videos. For context, this was recorded in September of 2019. So I'm pissed off. Well, mildly pissed off, I would say, because there's a lot of other more important shit to be pissed off about. But in terms of petty, stupid bullshit to be pissed off about, I think this is kind of worthy of it. So, Disney, okay? And you know, I have been pretty chill about Disney's versions of Star Wars, or the Disney era of Star Wars, as I call it. And I don't like to call it Disney Star Wars. There's just something that sounds stupid to me about that phrasing. I much prefer the Disney era Star Wars phrasing of that. So let's break this down, shall we? So I was watching the Nathan P. Butler thing, and he showed all the re-releases. I'm like, holy shit, got a re-release of Phantom Menace. That's awesome. And the re-release of every other Star Wars film. No bonus features on the first 6 films on the disc. No bonus features at all. None whatsoever. They couldn't even get the DVD extras and put them on the damn Blu-ray. I've got no idea why they couldn't do that. That would be great. That would be an incentive. Okay, you wouldn't get the DVD, the 2005 DVD releases of the prequel films, but you would get the Blu-ray cut with the prequel bonus features. So they don't do that, okay? And this is the big one. So the main thing that I could see of Disney buying Fox was this whole distribution rights thing. And the big reason is because they would have access to the original trilogy. All of them. They would be able to release a high-definition version of the original trilogy. Guess what they don't do? That. I don't know why. I get that Disney can't fucking contact Harmy because they would have to recognize that the despecialized editions are an infringement on copyright rather than just a fair use fan-made thing. And the whole thing with the despecialized edition is a gray area. So in terms of what we've got, we still got the 06 DVDs, which may or may not work. And I'm saying that because I was looking at my DVD, and they weren't looking in the best condition, but they still play, fortunately. And I do have them ripped to my computer. I'd much rather have the DVDs, despite those transfers being terrible, and I recognize they're terrible transfers. And of course you have the despecialized edition and the 4K fan projects that exist out there. You in theory have a ton of different ways to watch the theatrical versions of Star Wars, but they were all fan cuts or fan edits. The despecialized edition is, to me, the best fan edit out there. I've gone into why I love the despecialized edition. It is my definitive way of watching Star Wars on home video. But regardless, as a Star Wars fan, as someone who considers himself a film preservationist, one of the main appeals of home video to me is the concept and idea that it can preserve films longer than streaming, I believe. As if the streaming service goes down and those archives are lost, then you might have people with the DVDs on standby that can transfer those files to a computer. if they have a disc drive, and I don't understand why you wouldn't have a disc drive, but I'm old school that way. I'm just very disappointed, to be frank. There is no way to really express my disappointment other than saying I'm disappointed. And I was tempted to buy these, mainly because they were pretty cheap. They were $20 a film. The prequels are actually like $14 a film on Blu-ray. So that's a really cool incentive. But the main issue is that they're just the Blu-ray cuts with the Blu-ray menus. So unless you're an obsessive collector like Nathan P. Butler is, you should look him up. This is where I'll actually leave a video. I will leave his video in the link in the description down below. It's bullshit that the only potentially good thing to come out of this merger is non-existent. I don't understand. How hard would it be? Because this is Disney. They just have the highest grossing. They have they have a ton of the highest grossing films of all time, right? Like this year, they've had some of the most record-breaking films. And you're telling me they can't just make an effort to re-release the original trilogy. They have the distribution rights. There is no excuse anymore. 2012, there was an excuse. 2015, there was an excuse. 2017, prior to the big merger, there was an excuse. There is no excuse now. I mean, George Lucas is already pissed off at Disney anyway. Who cares at this point? You could just re-release the theatrical cuts or do it in a big box set. And this would be a genius marketing move. Includes the original unaltered Star Wars trilogy, digitally remastered. Do you understand how great of an incentive that would be for people like me to get the theatrical cuts on 4K or even on Blu-ray or even on an anamorphic widescreen DVD? I would pick it up. There's literally no reason or incentive for me to buy this other than the novelty of it. I've got the complete saga. I've got the specialized editions on Blu-ray. I have a few other fan edits on Blu-ray, and I do feel bad about buying those. And I own the spin-off films, the television series, and I pretty much own a lot of Star Wars, long story short. So the only reason you would have to buy the new releases that are out now is if you don't have them on Blu-ray. And if you lost your DVDs. That's the main reason. I would advise against doing this if you want to upgrade from your individual DVD releases to the individual Blu-ray releases. But here's the reason I advise against that. Because there will be different versions of the movies. We're not just talking about picture quality upgrades. We're not talking about digital remasters. We're talking about actual differences in terms of the editing, in terms of the sound design, and in terms of the special effects. Not as bad for the prequels, but definitely for the original films. So, I guess that's my 2 cents on this. I bitched about it on Twitter, and I just wanted to bitch about it here. So, live long and prosper and have a nice day.